Hello, folks, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Joe to Love. Here, let's talk about some of the happenings of pro wrestling over the last weekend, particularly Rampage, SmackDown, and Collision. Some notable stuff went about on those days, so thus we'll talk about it and give a little preview insight as gearing up for another pro wrestling filled week with Raw, Dynamite, SmackDown, etc. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining me. If you're new on the podcast or if you just want to help out, subscribe. Do so by clicking that subscription button in the corner. Helps out, and nonetheless, thank you all. Or if you just want to support, then nonetheless, thank you. And yeah, let's get started. So, for starters, Rampage for AEW. So, for those who didn't clear of Dynamite, so on Dynamite, Christopher Daniels came out to interrupt the Elite when, first of all, Adam Copeland was stripped of the TNT Championship because of a spot. That spot he did his TNT Championship Steel Cage match against Malachi Black on Sunday at Double or Nothing. Thus, he fractured his tibia, and he'll be out for an extensive amount of time. So he's been stripped, and on Wednesday, the Bucks tried to anoint and just award Jack Perry as the TNT champion. But alas, Chris Daniels stepped in, announced that he's been now appointed as an interim EVP, so he has stroke around again after he was quote unquote fired. So he announced that there would be a ladder match for the vacant TNT Championship at Forbidden Door, starting with qualifying matches to lead in that match. And we had our first qualifying match on Rampage, which took place between Konosuke Takeshita and Penta El Zero. And it was a solid match. We could kind of figure who won, but nonetheless, it was a very solid match between two great competitors. And in the end, Takeshita, after a big right hand and his big running knee strike, beat Penta and is the first to qualify for the TNT Championship ladder match at Forbidden Door. An interesting contestant after losing to Moxley, and if there's one guy already, I'm not sure if there's anyone better right now besides Jack Perry in the minds of the Bucks to be the TNT champion. But Takeshita, if you really want to give him some momentum and give him a big boost, and the Don Callis family some boost. And Tony Schiavone on commentary noted that he did it without Don Callis. So I'm just a little curious if that will tie into things with Don Callis family as well. Who knows? But nonetheless, great win for Takeshita. Solid match. And he's the first to qualify for Forbidden Door. We'll see about more qualifying matches to come, but we still got about 4 weeks still, so we'll see. SmackDown. So, SmackDown was very interesting in a number of ways as we lead up to Clash at the Castle a week from Saturday. So, Nia Jax, who won the King of the Ring, or won the Queen of the Ring tournament, I should say, had another celebratory moment on SmackDown and said that it doesn't matter who the champion is at SummerSlam, she will be the new women's champion. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven made their claim and ultimately erupted into a tag team match between Piper and Chelsea versus Naomi and Bayley, which they won, but nonetheless it turns out officially Bayley will defend her women's championship at Clash of the Castle against Piper Niven. Interesting match, I'd say, but we'll see. We also got some, I guess, progression of the bloodline. So, Kevin Owens again. One of Canada's best, and best in general, has been a thorn in the bloodline side for the last number of years. And now with this new bloodline, it seems he's only a more vocal point. You know, with Solo Sikoa, Tongaloa, and Tama Tonga. So, Solo Sikoa and Paul Heyman, they had a moment backstage where Solo chimed in saying that they got to have Cody Rhodes in check by the time Roman Reigns comes back. And Paul Heyman was, with all due respect, who's we? Because that's what he said. We have to have him in check. But nonetheless, there was a brawl in the middle of the ring with Kevin Owens joined by the Street Profits. First, the bloodline. I'm kind of curious about Bobby Lashley's injury, but nonetheless, some progression. And you know, with the chants and stuff, Roman Reigns is going to come back a unique babyface, to say, and it's weird how after so many years ago, when that babyface run failed, and now years after this fun heel run, he's going to come back a babyface, and it's just going to be weird but fun. LA Knight, in what was a move I think we could all say was inevitable. So, LA Knight laid claim and challenged Logan Paul. Logan Paul wasn't there, but he said, challenged Logan Paul and says he wants the United States Championship. This was a match we thought could potentially happen at WrestleMania. It did not happen, as instead we got LA Knight versus AJ Styles in that very good triple threat with Logan, KO, and Orton. But again, who better to take the United States title off Logan Paul than LA Knight? I can't really think of one. And I think we could say, LA Knight taking the title off Paul and then potentially winning Money in the Bank. We'll see. But, it's just progression because, people were so upset at Damian Priest winning last year when there were talks of either LA Knight or Logan Paul winning the briefcase, but instead they went with Priest. And we'll see. But nonetheless, that's a match we're all looking forward to. And it came down to a silly segment, but fun interaction in between with LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes. Now, Carmelo is one of the great upstarts from NXT additions, but seeing that slip up when Carmelo said, why would LA want to face you, when he talked to LA Knight? And he said, why would LA want to face you when a first round draft pick is standing right here? And LA Knight was quick to say, well, if I face myself, baby, you look in the mirror. You mean Logan, right? Right, Logan Paul, right? Get your names right. So, yeah. Just silly and just shows you how snappy and how good Logan Paul, or LA Knight, sorry. How good LA Knight is good at cutting promos, and yeah, we'll see how it goes, but it should be fun. And then, to close the show, so last week, a couple weeks ago, or actually, first we can say, AJ Styles has had some odd few months, wrestling. So it's like he lost to LA Knight at WrestleMania, but avenged and won the rematch to face Cody Rhodes at Backlash. Styles lost in a fun match, and then he was in the King of Ring. Sneeze. Sorry. I heard a sneeze, and yeah. Anyway, Styles then was in the King of the Ring. First Randy Orton, first round. And Styles lost in the first round. So, automatically it's back to the drawing board. So then last week, Styles, we saw, talk to Nick Aldis, and Styles asked for a title shot against Cody. And Aldis said, shots like that have to be earned, and they take time. And Styles was like, Nick, you know I don't have time. And Nick blatantly said, well, I'm sorry, AJ, but there's nothing we can do to help you with that. So AJ was left perplexed. So then we saw a graphic where Styles was going to address his future. So we saw him talk with many others in the back, talk to LA Knight, talk to Cody, talk to Nick, all this eerie feeling, because if you remember, now if that didn't happen, and it's crazy us as fans who have seen a lot of these moments can easily draw back to a recreation. So for those who remember, 11 years ago, John Cena was cutting a promo, and then Mark Henry came out in, a pink, flannel top suit or dress shirt with, black dress pants and a tie. He had his boots and he put them at the top of the stage. And it was a unique segment as he walked to the ring and he was emotional and he got a promo saying that Daddy's coming home, talk about his journey, and it was an emotional segment. And then, Cena was congratulating him as, it seemed like Mark Henry seemed like he was retiring. And then all of a sudden a flip of switch when they're about to embrace and hug. Instead, Mark Henry drops Cena with a World Strongest Slam and says he still has a lot left in the tank. Quote, leading to John Cena versus Mark Henry for the WWE Championship at Money in the Bank, hence 2013. Now we're 11 years later, and AJ Styles, he's out there with, the blue suit, he's, a bit emotional. He's talking with the the OC. I hate my camera a bit, sometimes it goes in and out. Anyway, so he was talking with the OC, and they did this too sweet pose in the middle of the ring, and then Cody was out there. Cody got emotional, and Cody, so then he was congratulating AJ, raising his arm up numerous times, and then AJ Styles doesn't retire, drops Cody with a big lariat, and proceeds to beat down Cody Rhodes full feet, and then AJ Styles drops Cody off the steps with a Styles Clash. And hell of a way to end SmackDown. Now, first of all, pretty unique way to set up a second match between the two, because Excuse me. Quite frankly, I thought that they were going to run this back at King and Queen of the Ring, but they opted not to, and they went with Cody versus Logan, which felt kind of rushed, but now they're going back to this. Potentially for, I'd say, either Clash at the Castle, I mean, they don't need to, that's kind of quick, or they could do at Money in the Bank. So, we'll see. Because the match for SummerSlam seems like Cody versus Randy. If The Rock is not going to be at SummerSlam, it's going to be Cody versus Randy. So this is basically them buying time with Cody until SummerSlam, and then we'll see. But yeah, Cody versus AJ, another match. Gracie, I would have been heavily pissed if that retirement was real, because for those who have listened to me or heard me, AJ Styles is one of my faves. All-time faves. Probably, I would say top 5 at least. Top 5 wrestlers of all time. But yeah, fake retirement by AJ Styles is a way to end SmackDown. And yeah, another match between AJ and Cody on the horizon. Goodbye me. Just Spence win. But we'll see. And then Collision. So, not really much happened on Collision. Although we did get a good international title match between Kyle O'Reilly and Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, it is weird thinking back to it already, just a couple days removed, but from Ospreay not only winning the International Championship, but now he's set to go for Forbidden Door to face Swerve for the world title. We'll see, but nonetheless, it was a fun match with Kyle O'Reilly. Again, Ospreay used the Stormbreaker, not the Tiger Driver. So I figured they're, building it up. And, when it finally happens again, there's probably going to be a pop to that. So we'll see. As far as Dynamite is concerned, so one thing is scheduled so far. So we got Swerve versus Roderick Strong, of course, as well as the return to Dynamite of MJF. Now, first about MJF, who turned that Double or Nothing. On Dynamite, he was called out by Roosh. Now, everybody knows Roosh is one of the most dangerous guys, ever on the roster, and, he's obviously one of those guys we wish to see more of. I think he had an injury, but he's been healthy for a little bit now, so we'll see if that's the way he comes back. Then MJF, but we'll see how it goes on Wednesday. As far as Swerve and Roddy, it's a world title matchup. So first of all, Does it need to be a world title match? Not really. Because, we saw Roddy lose the title. Now, he did win the match on Collision. So there's that. But, it doesn't need to be a world title match. And, but I imagine we're going to have, because MJF came back to, and the first thing he did was lay out Adam Cole. Now, if you guys remember, at World's End, it was quote unquote Adam Cole revealed as the devil behind the mask with his cronies, the Kingdom, and Wardlow. So, and of course, Roderick Strong, a part of the Kingdom. So, my guess is we're going to see one of at least a number of these people on Wednesday as far as that match is concerned. Either we're going to get Ospreay, MJF, or members of the Kingdom involved to not only build up MJF in this feud for the Undisputed Kingdom, but Will Ospreay for Swerve at Forbidden Door. So that's my guess on we'll see on Wednesday. We'll see. If not, we'll see some form of these guys in his return. But yeah, we'll see. But that's what's so far in line for Dynamite. We'll see how it goes the rest of this week. But nonetheless, should be fun. But yeah, therefore, those are my thoughts and recap of what went down Friday as far as Rampage, Collision, and SmackDown. But hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, of course, leave a like, thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys all. But I'll be back on Thursday with my AEW Dynamite review and much more. So take care, guys. But nonetheless, thank you. Be safe. I'm Joe to Love. Peace. Although one thing I must say, so this did not happen on Friday or Saturday, but I will say so because it's in the weeds. On Monday, so Becky Lynch lost her Women's Championship to Liv Morgan at King and Queen of the Ring. And then, there's some rumblings about her contract situation. And on Monday, on Raw, Becky Lynch lost a steel cage match for the Women's Championship versus Liv Morgan. And it was a bit of a weird, sloppy ending, but nonetheless, Liv Morgan retained. And the reports are now that Becky Lynch is a free agent. Now, yes, Liv Morgan kissed Dominic Mysterio. But as far as Becky Lynch, which by the way, that storyline is going to be weird for when Rhea Ripley returns. How is she going to fare, and Judgment Day's involvement, how is it going to be? But nonetheless, Becky Lynch, now a free agent, at the end of the day, she's a mom, you know, and Seth Rollins is injured. So, it's got to be tough now because we're probably not going to see Seth Rollins at least until the end of the year, or if not next year. It's a blow with his injury. But yeah. So Becky Lynch, she may take some time off because really, she's been workload for the women's division the last number of years for WWE. So, we'll see. And yeah, but I don't see her going anywhere else. I mean, the only other place we could see her going is AEW. But, again, she's been working there for years, and her at the end of the day, her husband is working there. So it'd probably be a weird vibe. But now, could I see Tony Khan throwing the checkbook out the window to sign Becky Lynch and just bring her in for star power and help out the division even more? Sure, but do I see it happening? No, but it would certainly be an interesting get. But we'll see what happens with Becky Lynch going forward. I hope that wasn't her last match because it would certainly have been a weird way to cap off your career in what was a fun career. But yeah, see where it goes for Becky Lynch. And there we go. So nonetheless, thank you guys all. See you guys later this week. Peace.